Good evening. It is a brand new edition of Road to Edo 2024. I must tell you that hearts are palpitating and most Edo State residents are salivating, expectant, and of course expressing optimism because of Edo 2024. Who is the next governor of Edo State? Who's going to succeed the incumbent, Mr. Godwin Obaseki? My name is Egosa Agmalao, and my guest is Paul Akungbowa. He's been here before. He's here again because he's determined to achieve his aspiration. Paul Akungbowa, welcome to Edo 2024.
Thank you for having me.
I'll just get the program started by asking you this question. I can see that you are dressed in a very unique fabric which depicts the cultural heritage of the Esan people. And I've been told, I've gotten the information that all political parties now, they've allowed aspirants from different senatorial districts of Edo State to aspire. So nothing like zoning. So why this attire? What message are you trying to pass?
I'm not particular about zoning.
Okay.
For me, it has been an attempt by the upper class of a particular region to lobotomize the people. We must revert back to the constitution, no matter how emotional we get. However, I'm dressed on this attire before. The last time I was there, I was dressed in the Benin attire.
Okay.
So it's only normal that I dress on this, and I intend to keep dressing on different attires because for now, I believe that Edo is one, and any person who is aspiring for the job of governor must have it in his heart to give representation to every cultural heritage, every tribe, and every region of the state. So this is for me symbolic. Okay. It's a way of identifying with my people, you know. And on top of that, I am also an Esan, one way or another. And here's why I said so. About 8 years ago, I accompanied my twin brother to Emu to marry Ihuareme Ahibi, who is an Asian woman. And I remember in the parlor where we were paying the traditional rites, they told us that we are now one. And so by marriage, I've become an Asa man, okay, by extension.
Yes.
So it is not because the political parties have suddenly decided to throw the cards open. It was undemocratic for them to have even thought of, you know, trying to sectionalize the tickets of their various political platforms one way or another.
Okay, that's a good one. He says he's an Asa man. And of course, his twin brother is right here with us. He's watching from the background. And he has used his own connection to actually involve his brother to become an Esan man by marriage. So this attire is very symbolic, and a man that wants to govern the entire Edo State must be ready to understand the cultural diversities. And that's what he has just posited, that he knows what it takes to govern multi-ethnic society where you have different ethnic groups. Okay, so it is Road to Edo 2024, and Paul Akungbowa is our guest, and he's been actually soliciting for your support. Don't forget that the primaries or the primary election precedes any other thing that has to do with Edo 2024. How prepared are you for the primaries, or in your party, is it a one-way thing?
No, it is not a one-way thing. It is undemocratic to assume that it will be an easy ride, okay, a one-way thing. We are there to sell our ideas. Like I said, when I left the Labour Party, it was because I didn't have the money to fight the process there. I have to be frank with you. And I chose YPP not necessarily because of its tenets, but because I believe that it's a party that has a lot of young persons, and the leadership of the party is young people oriented, and I've observed that they are more pursuant of a candidate who can resonate with the electorate rather than giving to what money can buy. Because when money comes into politics, a wealthy idiot will end up being a candidate. You know, so for now, the YPP is very much interested in our manifesto as a way of engaging the people.
Okay. I think I've asked this question before, and it's very pertinent to ask again. You look so determined to be governor of Edo State. You want to tell the Edo people what's going on in your mind, what convinced you to give you that impetus to have the confidence of becoming governor, if given the opportunity?
Like the proverbial goat that has been pursued to the wall, and then he sees no other option than to turn back, and this time boldly faces assailant. It's a do or die, make or break situation for young people because their lives, for me, is wasting. Before now, people gloat of their accomplishments in their 30s, in their 20s, but the same people who have become old people in their late 50s and 60s and 70s today are not giving room for young persons across most political platforms to exude their God-given ideas and talents. And I feel that burden in me, that it is high time we just tell the elders that it is not going to be business as usual. Ours is to cause a voter revolution. That for the first time in this state, people, especially young people, will queue up behind the candidate who has not faltered the process with money. Because when money comes into politics, those who have made illicit wealth will remain the top of consideration in our leadership process. And we make bold to say that our records are untainted, that we are in public life. I grew up amongst the people. For those who perhaps will hear me speak English language today, should perhaps revert back to Man Around Town. For the past 15 years, I've been engaging families there. I'm the popular voice on that Man Around Town program for advertorial, which is the Oduga one for education matter. We have literally lived our lives within the confines of this state, and we believe that it is not going to be the big names as usual. We also believe that it's not going to be any form of imposition. Edo is known for her recalcitrancy when it comes to perceived imposition. Edo has a history of rejecting that who has assumed that he has everything to make a full area of the political process. We are counting on our manifesto. I have always emphasized that I did not get into this race because I'm a political bigwig. I'm not known among the political class, but I'm very known by God's grace among the people. And I believe it is the same people that will make the choice. Whether or not they want to prepare anarchy in the electoral process doesn't stop the fact that some of us feel we have the right to speak to the people. And what we are coming to the leadership space with is nothing but ideas, because the basis upon which any candidate in the first instance should be engaged by any political party, any sane political party, should be on the basis of ideas. Because if I am a billionaire today, I'm not coming to government to come and use my billions to fix government and tar roads and make life easy for the people. And it's becoming too mundane that people stick to tar roads. How about tar the minds of the people? When you tar the minds of the people, you can have young persons springing up with staggering ideas that can begin to translate to reality. It is putting a process, a leadership process that can encourage other miniature governors. We want to prove that the son of a nobody can actually become somebody with the collective help and support of everybody. Because come to think of it, for the past 16 years, it has been friends of friends that have been ruling Edo State. And then Shomole came in via the effort of the former governor. Of course, he brought the process. The current governor came in via the effort of the other governor. Now, this governor wants to bring somebody in. It's been friends of friends. It has never really left a circle of friends. Whether they quarrel while they get to office is another material to be considered. But it has been a case of friends for friends. And these friends for friends are nothing but the plutocrats, the aristocrats, the wealthy people. And history has proven that a wealthy man really doesn't have the empathy to completely solidarize with the common man. He doesn't see it.
Can't generalize.
Here's a statement. I want to ask you a statement. Do you know the cost of transportation from Oluku to Ring Road?
You are not to ask me.
No, I'm asking because I'm very sure. Chances are that you drive a vehicle.
I'm the one that you ask.
So someone does not even know. I do not know. And when I say that I do not know, it is not that I have not found that, but it's that I don't pay it. And I recently came to terms with the reality that I drive a vehicle. I'm able to buy fuel and drive. But these guys are flying private jets. So if I don't know the cost of transportation from Oluku to Ring Road, don't expect these guys who can afford private jets to empathize with you.
But they can have informers.
But history has also proven
that will give them the information.
Yes, they can get this information from public domain and try to use it as a way of empathizing with the people. I mean, currently they started tagging themselves homeboy. How can you, at old age, we've crossed 50, you're still going with the tag homeboy. All of this is just to prove for me some measure of desperate identity. If you are not with the people, do not attempt to want to curry the people's emotion and sentiment, but it's the political game. I understand this is game, but this is why our lives have not made meaningful impact for a long time. Because if it is not game, you will see it as a business of empathy. You'll be afraid to do the wrong thing because lives will be wasting while you are in office legislating poor policies, while you are in office pushing their commonwealth to pockets. Is it not obvious and glaring that the moment they leave office, especially governors, the next thing you see them invest in are shopping malls, filling stations, and what have you? Anywhere the poor will keep coming to come and patronize. But have you seen or heard a governor who has ruled, or a deputy governor who has ruled Edo State and left Edo State, and you hear his name still today, till today? And I don't mean the handout they share to their political urchins. I mean staggering projects, using their names, leveraging on old offices to go around international organizations. How come they are not investing massively on healthcare? Do you know how many poor people are dying of lifestyle diseases because they can't afford to take care of themselves? What was the last time some of us even asked the current cost of Ventolin? Where the asthmatic patient whose parents are poor, or the asthmatic patient who doesn't have money, are they going to die? Should they die? But you see, the wealthy man only understands one language: more money. We are not saying there's anything wrong with making more money, but not at the expense of the people. It shouldn't be at the expense of the people. If you come in with a heart of empathy and you carry the concept of afterlife, I always ask myself, where are you carrying all these billions? Where are you taking them to? If you carry the concept, what will life be for me if I die today? If you carry that thought in your heart, no matter how young you are, you will see that there's wisdom in your mind. You will begin to see beyond the enjoyments of today. You begin to see beyond the peripheral. That way, your mind is always focused on the people because you came to get jobs. We have said tirelessly that until you get a government who is willing to sign local government financial autonomy, is business as usual. Because if money doesn't go to the grassroots, the money stays in one avenue and it will rotate between friends or friends. And I think Edo people should be tired of allowing visitors come to hijack their politics and their leadership. And when I mean visitors, children of Edo extraction who do not understand the length and breadth of Edo State. And I mean that with all forms of sincerity. Very recently, a program was held in Edo State. They hired the cooks from Lagos. Very recently, a program was also held in Edo State. The compare was contracted to Lagos. The reason is simple. The man who came from abroad, or Lagos, or Port Harcourt, or wherever he came from, can only work with those he knows. And that's why your contracts over the past 8 years have gone to strangers. A lot of non-Edos are very much in Edo State government, running government. I'm not against that. I'm not saying that we should hustle up people.
I was just about asking you if you were against competence. Competence can attract anybody from anywhere.
You know, I told somebody asked me a question. I said, let's focus on competence. And the person reprimanded me. And I think to an extent he was right. He asked me a question. Do you think Asian extraction doesn't have competent sons and daughters? I said, well, that's true. So are you telling me that in the whole of Edo State, there are no competent people? If that's what you're telling me, then we should all pack up and go and sleep. If you are telling me that, then you are telling me that you do not actually come to that mazin that says Edo Odio. It is not a mere saying. There are smart and intelligent minds all over the length and breadth of Edo State. But you can only make choices within the purview of your reach. And when you bring strangers to lead, they will come in with their strange friends to do the same process.
I'm not trying to defend the government.
I'm only saying,
some of these persons who come from other states are actually Edo State indigenes,
yes,
but resident outside Edo State.
Why should I be a local government chairman in Uwonde and be staying in Oredo?
Anyway, that's not our discussion. But the question I'm going to ask you now, Paul, you really passionately express your emotions. You want to tell the Edo people, what do you really have that you intend to deliver if given the opportunity?
For the past 15 years, I've had thoughts of what government can actually do. I didn't decide that I want to go run for office because I feel like this is, we could just get it. I have met with governors to discuss with them on simple ideas. For example, every artisan, the one they call job man, a mason, the one they call bricklayers, painter, the electrician, the AC installer, the tiler, the sales guy who sells the tiles. I articulated a long time ago a project that can engage them and mop in wealth from the 36 states of Nigeria to Edo State. I am saying that until you have a government of wealth creation, they will go there, they will borrow, they will do some projects, you will clap for them, and your life will remain where it is. I have projects, ideas that can engage every person within the medical space, that can create wealth within the medical space. I've had meetings with some section of the NM, and I've had to tell them, this is how we can create wealth. Because we have numbers. Let me ask a question, sir. Is it not shameful that some countries around Africa understand that Nigeria is a population-dense country, and then they come to do business with Nigeria, leveraging on the numbers of Nigeria, and Nigerians are failing to take hold of what's naturally given to them? For example, does it for me, it doesn't make so much economic sense that the owners of telecom companies wherein billions of dollars are raked in are not Nigerians completely? It is for me an act of financial loss that for every child who uses sanitary diapers, and then for every female who uses sanitary pad, we've forgotten that's wealth itself. Can a state be intentional? Yes, a state can decide to be intentional. You can build businesses for the next 4 years that will outlive generations. It's a social democratic concept. You must be able to come to a table where you know that, yes, borrowing money to pay salaries will not solve our problems. Borrowing monies to tar roads will not solve our problems. The man who can afford a car does not even appreciate the road you have tarred. How do you solve human problems? How do you bring joy, happiness to the heart of the people? How do you put policies in place where the man who has ideas and strength can decide to plunge himself in? Government cannot become an employer, so to speak, directly. But government can accentuate policies that will be hijacked by intelligent, smart, wealthy people who are interested in making more money, and then everybody smiles. So when they tell you, for example, vote for me because I'm chairman of this, I'm board of this, I will attract investors to Edo State. That's a fallacy. A state is a working machinery on its own. A state is like honey, the bees must come. If you enter that government today and begin to spread policies, they will begin to come from far and wide. Investors are not coming to come and help you. They are coming to make more money.
How do you intend to implement such policies if given the opportunity?
Like I just said, for example, if we can change our policy programs that allow investors to come in peacefully, peaceably, and do businesses, and not just policy programs, ideas that can transcend beyond a particular government. Like, for example, we have crafted how to make billions of naira from agriculture. We have also crafted how to make billions of naira from education. We have crafted how to make billions of naira leveraging on artisanship. We have crafted how to make billions of naira from the health sector. Now, what we need to do is articulate all our points together and begin to sell it gradually to the public. When the public begins to think on this, if you, for example, sir, let's assume you have 20 billion lying in an account, and a governor is saying, come do this. It's an open feed. And you know that if you put that 20 billion into a process, at the end of the process, profit season, you might have made ×2 of that profit. You may likely want to do so. But the goal here is that government cannot begin to use our money to invest in every corner, but government can have stake and bring people to invest in every corner if the ideas are luminous enough for people to see that they will make wealth instead of make losses. These ideas are what we are saying. That if the wealthy man doesn't have the ideas, please forget him. Gone are the days where they say doctor this, doctor that. No, some of us have a power knowledge. Some of us have what I describe as knowledge, knowledge that transcends beyond paper qualification. Some of us are walking mobile emeritus of what knowledge, the ontology of knowledge should be. And we should find a way to harness such minds and bring them into leadership space. Not just a man who is smart at being lettered, at being, let's assume, at being outspoken. But you must begin to look at the ideas in his heart. These ideas, how do we engage the public and create wealth with these ideas? Because until that happens, it is just some group of billionaire friends who are rallying around their friends. Right now, as I speak to you, there's so much money coming into Edo State because election is by the corner. There are some investors, there are some career investors in the political space, but they will not perhaps be looking at funding a candidate who has revolutionary ideas that could make life easy for everyone. But it's friends of friends, fellow billionaires. We talk to fellow billionaires. That's why I want to take the carpenter, I want to tell the keke rider, I want to tell the tomato seller, I want to tell the tricycle rider that if you die today, no big man will come to your burial. If your child is doing wedding, go and give invitation. They will not come. It's only fellow mechanics that will come there. It's only fellow carpenters that will go and bury a dead carpenter. Every space must carve their niche. And the niche of the common people just now must begin to know that the niche of the wealthy will serve only the wealthy. It is not for the masses. It can never be intentional. I even listened to a tape where Pastor Chris Oyakilome said, if you think that these people you have voted in will make life for you to be like them, you are joking. But you see, I am not getting into office because I'm larger than anybody. I'm just a tutorial operator. I'm proud to say that's my trade. That's my craft. It's not better than the billionaires. You cannot trace their wealth. The billionaires today, if you begin to scrutinize their source of revenue, you begin to discover that it's been your wealth that has been stolen clandestinely, that is also now being presented to you in form of salt and pepper to get your vote.
Paul Akungbowa, I must thank you.
Thank you very much.
You've been able to express what you intend to achieve. The people are the kingmakers. And I'm very convinced that the people, they've listened to you, they've watched you, they've been able to see what you intend to bring on board. And it is only our optimism, because at this stage, it's still an aspiration. And you've been able to tell us how you intend to get on and become a candidate. So that's a good development. So the people are the kingmakers. We hope that they will make the right decision. But before we leave the studio, you've talked about money bags in politicking. Don't you think before anybody intends to vie for an exalted position, as in the office of the governor, to a large extent, don't you think it should be wealthy? Because the process surely would demand a lot of funds.
And here is my hope and expectation, that the people will suddenly realize that you cannot keep doing one thing same way and expecting different results. Whether you are a billionaire or not a billionaire, ideally, in the Western world, it is the people that actually fund their choice candidates. We want to become a candidate, we want to maintain a candidature by God's grace, and then ask the people. The people will be the one who will make the choice of how far we go. Because what we are trying to do now is educate the people, for the people to understand that it is about them. It is really about them. The people you see blow siren around the city of Edo State today, they don't care about you. They are not bothered about security. They finance their own security. Long before now, it used to be state governments or federal government, whatever it is, water boards that maintain water. Now we are all now water board to our very own self. So how do you now tell me that you need to vote me so I will give you water, when we are now sinking water for ourselves? It is expedient that the people come to terms with that reality, that until you have a government that can completely empathize with you, a government that is instituted by you, a government that is not far from you, a government that is not larger than you. Because in Nigeria, we have so many persons who are bigger than institutions. Until you have that, I'm sorry, we may remain in this dark web for a very long time.
Thank you very much, Paul Akungbowa. You've been able to, like I said, express your feelings and your intentions and you've been able to outline what you intend to do. It's a continuous process because the primaries surely will come up next year. Then we'll know the candidates. So once again, thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.
It's Edo 2024. Next week, we'll be here again to actually look at how the aspirants are faring. My name is Ego Sagbolao. Do have a wonderful weekend and Merry Christmas in advance.